Welcome to Mastering Your Financial Life, hosted by Judy Heft, the founder and CEO of Judith Heft and Associates Financial and Lifestyle Concierge. This year, they're celebrating 26 years in business. In every episode, Judy interviews professionals who help others successfully manage their financial lives. You can find this show on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. Judy is the author of 2 books, How to Be Smart, Successful, and Organized with Your Money for a Better Today and Tomorrow, and her latest book, Mastering Your Financial Life Cycles, How to Successfully Manage Money in Every Decade of Life. You can read chapters of her books and catch prior episodes of this show at www.judithheft.com. Now here's the host of Mastering Your Financial Life, Judy Heft.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to our 24th episode of Mastering Your Financial Life. And today I'm really excited to be here with my good friend, Shari Davidson. Shari is the founder of On Balance Search Consultants, and that's a boutique search firm that specializes in finding top talent in the legal community. She really is a holistic recruiter and talks about everything with her clients. So she's really likes to concentrate on her candidates' finances too. Do they have insurance? Do they need 401k? What do they need? So today we're going to talk to Shari, and she's going to help us figure all of that out. So one of the things so welcome, Shari. It's great to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to be here.
It's my pleasure. So, some of the things, I think the people that are looking for jobs are unhappy in their current situation. And how do you help them evaluate a new job opportunity or compared to the current one that they're in?
Okay, great question. First of all, when a candidate does call me or I reach out to a candidate and they want to make a move, I really want to know from day one, what is the motive behind the move? If somebody is moving and jumping ship just for money, or is it because they're not being recognized in the firm? And I'm going to talk about lawyers. Even though I've recruited for many different areas, and whatever I talk about attorneys, except for a couple of things, it's really could be applied to any title or any other industry. But it really understanding the motive for the move is the main point. Once I understand that, and I always ask my candidates to be very transparent with me. The more transparent they are with me, the better I can help them. I know that there's new laws out there. I'm not allowed to ask about salary, but I do ask about salary expectations and how they came to that conclusion. And if they do tell me their salary and the bonus and everything, I could probably coach them better. So there's another thing on my new website that's coming out. It's called Drive Your Career. And it's really who's driving the career. A lot of candidates or lawyers, young lawyers, come out of law school and parents tell them, I told my daughter, go get a job, get some experience. In legal, that's not the case because you can get typecast as early on as just doing your internships. So you want to make sure everything aligns with your aspirations and your goals. And that goes back to me when I'm vetting them. What are your aspirations? Where do you want to be 5, 10, 20 years? I might even take the candidate that just graduated law school and say, where do you see your trajectory and where do you want to be at 65? So we can really truly understand how to put them in the right position. So going back to the vetting process, I always ask about insurance, 401ks, actually I have one firm right now that I think is really cool. They offer 1 year free memberships to spouse as well as the attorney or whoever is there. Netflix or Hulu or any of the streaming services, they give one. So those are like the little things for lifestyle. Some certain firms are more lifestyle, oriented, where some firms are like, I want to build 24,000 hours a year. So I want to know what the candidate's personality, their drive, and then we match everything up with their financials and everything. I do find it interesting, though, when I do ask about salary expectations, some of them don't even think about it. I said, okay, what is the lowest that you could take a job? You don't want to find the perfect job out there or position that you really think is going to be great and take a cut in salary if you can't make your mortgage and everything else, because you're going to be worried about how am I going to pay that bill at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So it's really a balance, and it's tightrope that I walk between the attorney and the firm that they're going to be joining.
So that's really interesting about some of those perks that these firms are giving, Netflix and gym memberships and things like that. That's so great. There's a lot of competition out there because of that, though. It really adds in. So we're supposedly in a recession right now. Are we moving into more of a recession? So, is it a good time to change jobs now during a recession, or should they wait, see what happens? What's your thought on that?
I'm going to say it definitely depends on the industry, okay? However, if you're working with somebody like myself, a legal recruiter that is getting retained or paid by the firm, they're serious about the positions. So number one, there's an extra added price tag to helping that candidate. Number two, this is the time. There's a lot of law firms that are doing extremely well, and they're taking advantage of the firms that are not doing so well, and they're bringing them on. So a lot of mergers and acquisitions, I believe through 2023 is going to continue going, and that's one area I work on. Mergers and acquisitions of law firms, succession planning. Currently, I'm working with an attorney that's from India and has practice in the States as well as India. It's a perfect time for him to make a move and take his book of business and bring it to another firm that would like to increase that area.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. So you work with people internationally as well?
Yes, I do. Matter of fact, through the COVID, I put somebody from Hong Kong to work back into the States. Yeah.
Excellent.
And so everything was done through Zoom. So here we are.
That makes it more interesting too. And it's really, the negative, there's a lot of negatives to what we went through in the last couple of years, but the positives is we can talk to people all over the world now. It's just so much easier. And even though we knew that we could do that before, we didn't do it.
No, we didn't. I did it with some attorneys from Dubai and things like that. I was on Zoom maybe 2 years prior to this. Zoom has taken a definite life of its own lately. But yeah, we didn't do it as a nation, and we didn't realize business could really be conducted that way.
Right. And everybody can work from home now. Are you seeing attorneys that want to work from home more than they want to be in the office? How's that in that industry?
I'm glad you asked about that. I really believe remote, hybrid, and remote work is totally dead in most eyes of the attorneys, except for maybe the rainmakers. The rainmakers can go to a virtual law firms. There's a few that are really good, and I could steer you the ones are good and the ones to stay away from. But people want you in the office, especially the younger attorneys. They just graduated. Where are they going to get their training and their skills if they're sitting in their PJs in their bedroom doing a debrief? That's doc review, and that will be looked down upon 3 to 5 years from now when we're looking for somebody that has expertise in XYZ practice area. In 2009, when we went through the last big recession and problems, kids stopped going to law school. Kids who came out of law school went and got jobs just because they either needed the experience or they couldn't find anything, and they ended up in areas that they had no intentions of being in. They get typecast, and it's very hard to break out of that. Now, going 5 years, 6 years forward, some of the candidates were able to switch practice areas, which is very hard to do. And those candidates are really high demand now, but we're not looking for the 3 to 5 year associate. We're looking for the 5 to 10 year associate because of that, because they didn't have the experience that they needed. So now, flashing back to COVID and everything, we have a lot of young attorneys that really are not being trained properly because they're not in the office. I can't see a corporate attorney seeing a client saying, let me put my guy on Zoom and he'll could sit and listen. He's going to go to whoever's in the office and say, come with me, I'm seeing this attorney, I want you to take notes and listen.
It's so true. Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of senior attorneys about that, and they're all saying that it's just so hard to train on Zoom. And, you want to be, I feel the same in my company too. It's nice to get up, and walk in somebody's office and have a quick conversation with them or ask a question. And, that's missing in a lot of organizations now with so much being on Zoom. I still have a few people that are in my office, which is nice, and I like that. I like being able to walk in there and ask questions.
I visualize everybody's computers sitting on the conference room, and everybody's talking through their computers and looking at each other. I know Zoom, we could do that all on one platform, but it's just got to touch it, you got to feel it, you got to kick it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I know. There's nothing like human contact. It makes much more sense, but
Yes,
we had to do
absolutely.
what we had to do. But I like that I think people are trying to get back to the office, and I think it's important.
I really think it's important for the young attorneys to stop
Yes.
saying, "Oh, I want remote. I don't want to work in the office." I said, "Well, that's great." And coming out of the AM laws, they pay very high. I think it's 210 now. It's for first year. It's insane for them really not to know anything, and that's great. But if you're not getting the training, where are you going to go?
It's true. So, Shari, we're going to take a little break now, and then we're going to come back and talk some more. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Hey there. I just want to tell you a little bit about my new book that just came out called Mastering Your Financial Life Cycles. And here it is. It's how to successfully manage your money in every decade of life. I co-authored this with my CFO, Liz Levy. And together we created this manual that's going to help you through every stage of life. We talk about having a baby. We talk about young adulthood, pre-retirement, what to do when you're at that age of retirement. If you're contemplating divorce, do you need an estate plan? We cover all of these, each subject in a different chapter. And I really think that you're going to find this so helpful because at the end of every chapter, we have checklists that you can look at and you can use, and they can be a guide for you. So this is a wonderful manual that we've created. It's available on Amazon. You can also find it on our website at judithheft.com/book. And we're here for you. If you need anything, reach out. I hope you enjoy the book. Here's another picture of it, just so you know what's going on. Here it is. And I'm really proud of it. It's my second book. And I'd love to have you read it and give me your feedback. Judy Heft, judithheft.com, financial and lifestyle concierge, celebrating 26 years in business. And over the years, I've learned so much. And what I've been trying to do is impart a little bit of this knowledge to you so I can help all of you become as financially organized as I am.
And we're back. Hi, Shari, again.
Hey.
So, I think there's a lot of questions when people are transferring or, switching firms, like what do they do with their 401? Or, how do they compare compensation plans or benefits? There's just so much to think about. It's not really just, culture is important, of course, whether you're going to a large firm or a medium-sized firm, you have to decide if that's what you like. But I think, the financial piece is also important. Like, what do you do with your old 401k? And, how do you compare those benefits?
Well, the 401k, you definitely need to talk to your financial planner. I can't really tell you what to do with that and how to do it or invest it, but I will tell you that if somebody has a 401k and the new firm is not offering a 401k, that's a benefit you are giving up. If they normally give bonuses like 10% of your annual salary, you kind of get a judge, what your package is and how many of the firms want to know what you are making or what your expectations are. So you really need to know all your numbers. And it really surprises me, and this is where I think, Judy, you can help a lot of people. They don't really know what's in their bank accounts or what they need to survive a month.
That's
they
so
really
true.
have not a clue. Like, I know my monthly nut, I have to, and I need to bring in X to cover it. And that number can be scary at times when you're not realizing, especially for somebody like myself that is driven on commission, which brings me to another point. Many recruiters who are driven on commission might drive you to a firm that may not be good for you because they pay them more. I don't know once I do the fee agreement, I tuck it into a drawer and I ignore it. And I only talk to the candidate about their aspirations and their goals. And once I make the placement, my husband will say to me, "So what did you make?" And I'll say, "I don't know." And he said, "What do you mean you don't know?" And I said, "When I write out the invoice, I will know, because I don't want that to interfere doing the right thing for the candidate and the client."
That's so great.
So, yeah. I think it's really important.
That's how like you told me before, you take a holistic approach and you look at everything. And, the bottom line is you want your clients and the candidates to all be happy, because then they're going to come back to you again too. Not the candidates, but hopefully the clients are going to come back to you again because you did such a great job of placing someone. So that's important.
I have to say, I'm so grateful I don't have to cold call. I'm working with a coach right now, and they say, you got to get business. And I said, I don't need any more business. I need candidates. I need candidates that really want to make a difference in their life. And before we even do a search for them, I really call it a strategic search. I find out all the information from their finances, what they need to do, and then we put all of their ducks in the row, their resume, their writing samples, everything before we even do it. Because once I start marketing the candidate, the client's going to say, well, I need this and I need that. And I don't want to wait 10 days finding out what the financials are. So even to the point where some of my candidates for partners who are moving and they have to prove their what they've done in the last 3 years, there's something called an LPQ, a lateral partner questionnaire. Sometimes I even just send out a mock one so they could start filling it out. So when they have to fill it out, all they have to do is transfer their information, and they have most of the information that they need.
This is so great. So Shari, let me interrupt you for a second. Do you help them with their resumes and their LinkedIn profile and all of that type of stuff too?
Many times, yes.
Everything.
Yeah, I'm more of a coach, trusted advisor. You know, clients will call me, are we open for, I think it was Columbus Day now, Indigenous Day, whatever you want to call it, you know, and then I would make even calls around to my clients and saying, are you open for this? No, we're using it as PTO. So I can give that information to my clients. I mean, as simple as that, more important things like what is the first year salaries in XYZ area. I find out that information, and as well as for my candidates, you know, testing the water. And that's another thing that I like to do for my candidates is send sometimes a blind, even if I have a fee agreement in hand. Find out if my client would be interested in that type of candidate, not just spreading a candidate's resume all over the place, because I don't like to think of myself as multiple listing.
It's interesting because we're always looking for new bookkeepers, and it seems to me sometimes, you know, by the cover letter, they're just sending their resumes to anybody. They don't fit the qualifications, but they just they must, you know, I use Indeed a lot, and they go in Indeed and they just do click, 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 click. And you get millions of, not millions, but
I stopped using Indeed because of that. I use it for research for other things, but I will tell you, Indeed used to be a great platform, but now it's like a bankruptcy attorney. I got a horticulturist, literally. I got a farmer. I got a banker. I did not get one bankruptcy attorney.
I know.
They didn't, and then they click saying, yes, they're licensed in New York and they're in Iowa. It's really.
They don't pay attention. They don't read. It's good to have someone like you that vets all of that. You know, it's really important to have a professional out there that knows what to do and knows how to read between the lines. I'm assuming you can read between the lines and you can figure stuff out. You've been doing it for a while. So that's great. So this is so good. Did we leave anything off? Is there anything else you want to tell our listeners?
Well, I do mergers and acquisitions, succession planning for attorneys who want to move to another firm and see something at the end of the rainbow of all their hard work. Many times solo attorneys will have such and such associates, and now they look to the right and the left, and they're about 55 years old, and they never thought about retiring or where they were. They were building, and they really were in a situation that they really never trained anybody as in the succession, or they thought Joe would be the succession, but Joe looks and says, oh my God, everybody's aging out, and leaves the firm with half the book of business. So I help guide candidates through that, as well as maybe merging their firm into another firm for light at the end of the tunnel, as well as everything in between. I'm actually working on a marketing position right now, a legal marketer. So,
oh, that's great. Yeah. So you're really
interesting.
Very varied. So how can our listeners find you, Shari?
You can reach me at 516-731-3400. Yes, that's a landline. Please leave a message. I'm one of those people that actually listens to them and returns calls. Or you can even text me. And I don't normally do this, but I'm going to give it to you folks, 516-526-9980. Please note, if you do text me, you need to tell me who you are, what you want, and why you're calling. And please tell me that you heard it from Judy show, so I can let her know as well.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that. And then what about LinkedIn? Can they find you on LinkedIn?
You can find me under Shari Davidson at LinkedIn or on Balance Search. I have a LinkedIn, Twitter, as well as Facebook feed. And onbalancesearch.com is also my website, which a new one hopefully will be out. My old one's up, but the new one will be coming out in a few weeks.
That's exciting. It's exciting to have a new website too. I love that. It's going to be great. Well, thank you, Shari. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I think our listeners must have learned a lot from you. I know I did. It's a pretty interesting conversation, good topics to talk about. And, I think it's so important to use a recruiter with something like this, especially in the law firms, because you know what's going on, you know what they need. And, that's an important position. So I hope our listeners got a lot from you, and I hope they reach out to you. So thanks, Shari.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for being.
You've been listening to Mastering Your Financial Life, hosted by Judy Heft. Thank you for your positive reviews, comments, and sharing this show with others. You can read chapters of Judy's books and catch prior episodes of Mastering Your Financial Life at www.judithheft.com.